Hi, Brian.
Peter, how you doing?
Not too bad, except I am having my main internet is out. I'm on my backup, which is DSL, which is unstable on a good day. So I made you co-host in case connectivity. Peter's really going to run this one this time. He will be here.
The new logo is great, but I want to know what was the four inside, like the four hearts inside of the breaks.
I hadn't thought of them as hearts. The design is the parentheses are like the globe, and those are
Okay.
supposed to be like mouse pointers, but
Oh,
softened,
okay.
but curved. The idea being that four cardinal directions converging on a space. It's all about the globe.
Yeah.
Um, but the concept behind the old one I liked. It was impossible to make it work in a way that didn't look like a downward S curve. But these guys were the guys who did the graphics, the new branding are amazing. They're in Guadalajara.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I met them at a meetup, and I'm not even sure why they were there. Some friends of somebody, and it was sort of right time, right place, and they're fantastic.
Yeah, I was checking the new fonts and logo and so on, and yeah, it's very cool.
Apparently, I sort of came up for a minute. I'm pinging
Yep.
from my phone on my good line. Maybe I'm back. Let's see. I've got to move. This happens way too often. I lived in my old neighborhood before we moved here. I regularly got like 950 gigs down and 350 up. And
That's up.
it was really good because it was new, like it was brand new fiber in a rich neighborhood. And then we moved here and we're on the outskirts of town. We had to go to there's like this local internet provider called Protocol,
Okay.
and they normally they do um, like satellite stuff for people who live in the mountain, and which we're right next to. But they advertised fiber, so they ran fiber to my house. It was the first strand of fiber in the neighborhood. As far as I know, we're still the only ones on it. And at best, I get like 130 down. Like they say it's max 150.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I get like 80 to 90, and it goes out like 3 times a week. Like it's fiber. How do you break fiber?
Yeah, it's well not very easy to like
Yeah,
break it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you break it, like you broke it. But this is like comes and goes. Hey, Peter, how are you?
Yeah.
What up, dude?
Wasn't sure I was going to be able to come. My internet is up and down.
Yeah, I mean you're coming in fuzzy, not like fuzzy, but you're coming in pixelated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit.
What's up, Brian?
Hey, Peter.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. I was just checking the new brand. I was talking with Peter. It's very cool. The
Yeah,
logo and the letters and so yeah, that's sort of very cool.
yeah, it looks a lot better.
I'm going to record this one. Some people asked if we could podcast it, so don't f-bomb too hard. Because I mean, actually, it's funny. Like I went through the whole what do you call it to set up the podcast on Spotify and YouTube for the other thing. It's like, is this meant for like kids under 18? I'm like, no. And they said, does it include any sketchy content? I'm like, I don't know. Like what would qualify? And then as I was editing the first episodes, 2 episodes of the podcast, I realized nobody cursed once. Like not at all. I'm like, that's not my show. Someone has to curse. And then since then, I'm like, I stopped cursing. I have lost it. Somehow it left me.
They say people who curse tend to be more honest.
Maybe I've lost that too, but I just like, I haven't, I don't know. I'm a little concerned. Alyssa, hello.
Hey,
So
Hi.
warning, I think we're going to podcast this one. So I'm going to keep the recording and publish it. So
cool.
I don't see why not. Um, now that I figure out how to use Spotify Creator, it's pretty easy once it's set up.
Nice.
So Alyssa, I am going to schedule that Backdoors and Breaches game starting next week.
Okay.
We got a bunch of more business in Malaysia, Singapore, Mumbai now. So got to make some people famous. That's what we do here.
Peter, your video's coming in better now.
Yeah, I had to run a Cat5 cable from a whole half meter from my router, my laptop.
Oh man, that's so hard.
Well, it's pathetic because I can't go Wi-Fi this far. My computer is this far from my router, and I have significant signal degradation unless I run a Wi.
I mean, I get it, man. It's just the way it goes.
And Fathom's breaking today. Ugh. Well, I promoted this hard because we don't, we have to kind of divvy up promotion between different events. And usually this one gets the short straw, but this week there's no backdoors and breaches. I don't promote office hours because I kind of feel like you should know about it. And if you don't come. But this time I was like, let's throw all 2,000 invitations at it and did a bunch of spam DMs. So we have several people who want to demo today. It's 6 past the hour. Peter, what time? It's 5 o'clock your time, isn't it?
Yeah, 5:04. But I'm in Miami this week. I'm going to IT
Ah.
Nations tomorrow. It's 7:04 right now for me.
So, nice. All right. So hopefully the new time zone works for the Americans. Here we're like, it's just another week because we don't change time zones in Mexico. It's one of it's one of the smart things that the government did. I won't say the only smart thing because the world has gone all fascist, but it's good. All right, let me pull up Circle and see who is on the stack. Oh, thanks for everybody, the feedback on our new branding. I'm pretty proud of it, but it is a bit of a Rorschach test. Somebody said it looked like the backside of a cat. I'm like, there's no tail, so I don't know where you got that, but okay.
I think understanding that the vision was the world and then the cardinal directions, that helped sort of provide more context of what the actual logo represents.
Yeah. Well, there was another version of it was like a star.
Yeah.
And my first thought was Goatsy. And then I showed it to Laura. And don't look up Goatsy, please don't. But Laura was like, and it was green because I really liked, and I like the green. I was like, that's a pot leaf. I'm like, it's not a pot leaf, it's a star. She's like, what's it supposed to represent? I don't, apparently. So we changed it. Okay, so on the stack, if you came in late, I'm recording this. I'm going to drop it on our podcast channel on YouTube and Spotify, and I think that works with Apple Podcasts, but I'm not really sure. But in any case, if you say anything that you want repeated on the internet until they disconnect the whole thing, self-censor. On the stack today, in order, is actually, if you want to see what I'm looking at, it is that. I'm not demoing today because y'all have seen enough of my stuff. I don't have anything new, really. I mean, I have new stuff, but it's not as cool as what's coming. So I got Tim Schnurr first, and then followed by Alyssa. Is it Alyssa or Alyssa? Alyssa. Okay, good. I've been doing it right, except that time. Then we have Luke, followed by Peter, I imagine. I really want to know what you think of your Lindy replacement. That's more of just me being selfish and wanting to know what you're seeing in the new platform or not. And then whoever else, I asked, I think Brian, you and Nico, are you still working on Claude skills? Maybe Brian had to bounce or he stepped away. All right, it doesn't matter. As part of their intern deal, I had asked them to learn Claude code and demonstrate something. Tell you the truth, I forgot. Let's give it 3 more minutes. I'm kind of surprised that we only have 10 people so far. And
yeah, and Tim's not here.
Three note takers. Well, it is voting day in places where I think we have disproportional population.
Change plus voting.
That could be it too. Well, maybe we push it back an hour. I don't know. I'm not thrilled with the idea of a 7 p.m. start. Yeah, let's give it 2 more minutes. Anybody have anything fun going on? Tell me something good.
Just building, lots of reading, lots of interviews.
What are you reading?
Right now, I am reading Generative AI Services with Fast API.
It's riveting.
Yeah, that's I've got a stack of like 13 O'Reilly textbooks that I bought for like pennies on the dollar that were they're getting ready to be the last edition. So I got good deals on them and I'm just digging through those. So
yeah. Do you still have your old copy of Stealing from Stack Exchange in a Nutshell?
No, I sure don't.
I don't think they actually published it. I think it was a meme from 20 years ago. Yeah, the O'Reilly memes were great, but there are only so many you could do. Yeah. So back when I was a kid, like the only way to learn anything really was to buy books from O'Reilly, and then O'Reilly Publishing started putting on conferences and tried to do training, and they sort of fizzled. but they were terrific. You know, DNS and bind. I learned DNS from an O'Reilly book. A lot of Linux. It was all
Yeah.
obsolete about 10 minutes after you bought it, but it didn't matter.
That is how it always goes, isn't it? That's I was really disappointed. They have one that's it is a large language model for security for generative AI apps or something like that. I forget what the exact title is, but it's like something like that. And I was expecting some like really groundbreaking, like really smart stuff in there. I felt like I learned something from like half of one of the chapters, and I feel like you could just talk to ChatGPT and learn more than what was it?
There's something great about paper, but I lost the cable from my printer 4 months ago, and I haven't had the need to go find it. You know, but
The only time I have a working printer is when I need to buy, sell a home, or do any sort of like, you know,
I was
legal
very close.
documentation.
I was very close to just buying another printer instead of like
Yes.
buying another cable, and it's like a commodity cable.
Yeah, dude, I get it. I mean, because you get new ink at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. So we're 11 minutes in, and I hate podcasts where people just like blah 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 for the first 15 minutes. So let's not do that. Tim, not here yet. How about Alyssa? Alyssa, what have you been working on? What would you like to demo?
So I was kind of inspired by our last office hour session, and you were like, it's time to maybe make your own website and put everything together. But I didn't want it to be like a normal website, so I kind of tailored it to my interests. So I kind of vibe coded a website, but it's themed after like a ransomware leak site.
How much ransomware have you perpetrated?
I've only dissected the, what is it called? Jigsaw, but yeah, that's it. So let me share my screen.
Just a question: is Jigsaw the one that turned your computer into a slider puzzle?
It's the one that, I'm not sure, but it's the one that like has a countdown, and there's like the Billy the Puppet, and it like deletes your files automatically after like an hour.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different one.
I think I have a screensaver in mind.
Can you see it?
Yes.
So this is it. So I themed it after ransomware, but obviously for the ease of like recruiters or people navigating the profile, I had to put a key here. But in the long term, if it gets too confusing, it might be a good idea to just have the titles as what they actually are, I think. So this is a cool feature that I thought, it took me a little while to create it with Claude, and I had to feed it some images, but eventually we got it working. So nothing too, I think, special. It's just how like some of these, for example, they expand down, and it's just a kind of repository for me to showcase my skills and links to my articles as well. So nothing too special, but a project that I've kind of spent a decent amount of time working on.
That's pretty slick. How long did that take you?
It took me maybe about 2 to 3 days because I wanted to theme it properly. So I had to like create my own kind of layout and then feed it into Claude, or like create my own vector images and feed it into Claude.
What would be an example of one of the vector images?
Let's see. Like the one, for example, this one, it's not accurate, but
It really does look like half an avocado, kind of. Or maybe like a yam with a pit.
Yeah, what vector database did you use?
No, I had to draw that by myself. So it's
Oh,
not
really?
accurate.
Vector art. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, does anybody do RAG anymore? Or did that get thrown out with like MCP and tool usage, or is it still a thing?
It's still a thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's still a thing. I mean, I think we're just free flowing here. It's just fairly complex to set up that you have to really have a good use case for why you're going to do it. I was at the Den AI Summit down at the Civic Center in Denver. And when you have 900 pages of documents and you want to retrieve all that stuff, that might be a good use case. But when you don't have that kind of stuff, it probably is overkill. And so you need to be recognizing the fact that there's an appropriate time to use it and not. It's the same thing with any of the AI stuff. Most people are building agents for automation and workflows and stuff. And it's like, does it actually call for that? If it doesn't, then probably can solve it another way.
Yeah, agreed. There's a lot of cases where you can literally just use a JSON, depending on like you don't have to get fancy.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to Alyssa for a couple minutes. So it took you a few days, mainly because the vector art had to be done by hand, and you wanted to look just so, and it looks great. And the fact that it looks different from any other AI generated site. I mean, there's a kind of like vibe code website style that I've tried to get away from, but because I'm still vibe coding, I'm spending a lot of dough. I mean, not as much as I did the first month where I spent like $400. It still costs like my lovable bill is about $218. Yeah, how much did you spend to do the site, or did it fit under your normal like Anthropic license?
I used the free version, but the annoying part was the cooldown. Like, for example, your limit resets at like, I don't know, 7 p.m. or something. So I timed it to like for the timer to run when I'm like doing classes or whatever. So after a class, and I would like that thing would kind of expire. So I would be able to just kind of do what I want to do.
Did that give you time to think more and design
Yeah.
more? And yeah, I mean, sometimes when you have more money, you just like YOLO everything and just, that's what I do. I'm just like, make it better. Like I've literally typed, make this less ugly just to see what would happen. And I'm just, it's like, there's a ticker in my mind for money and it's like quarters. It's like, you know, going to the arcade and you're like, just one more, just one more, just one more. I know no one goes to arcades anymore. Maybe they do. I don't know. But there's one that was like outrageously expensive to win. Did you have to do, like, how much prep did you have to do to get the design right before you would prompt it? Or did it give you that look and feel pretty easily?
It gave like a standard, like I have a senior who kind of also has the same like idea, like ransomware themed like portfolio, and the original version was more colorful, had like all the green and red and whatever, like flashy imagery, and it was really distracting. So I thought it would be like better to design something that would be more like, easier to the eye. So I kind of sent the like original whatever Claude gave me originally to like, for example, I sent it to my mom and I was like, can you read this? And she was like, it's like too distractive, or like it's hard to focus on the titles when there's so much going on. And I think you should simplify it. So I decided to make it like monotonous. And then I just prompted it to be like, can you make the titles like more like attractive or like easier to read, keep the like formatting. And then I kind of just put something quick together and like Photoshop and just put it in there.
Oh, that was how you did the yam avocado.
Yeah.
What do you want to do next? So I saw text. Could you put it up on the screen once again? Or
Yeah.
would you mind sharing the URL? Is it okay if we see it? And I'm looking at the list. I don't see our usual pen testers here. Although Xenophon, I don't know. Xenophon, are you gonna bang on Alyssa's website? I don't know if you were a pen tester or not. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't think it will pass any of the pen testing website because it's just hosted on GitHub. So I have not figured out how to host it like securely, for example, using AWS or whatever. So it definitely will be super easy to pen test.
What what do you have in mind next for the site, or if anything, or is it done?
I just want to see, like, right now, because the only way I know that I think is going to be a bit annoying is that if I have new certificates or I have new blog posts, I have to re-update the index to GitHub, and it'll just be like annoying because I have to take down and the old code and then like branch out the branch and then push it like to GitHub. So that is a bit annoying. So I'm trying to see if I could automate that, if there's a process to make that easier. And I think on the long run, I want to do like not a survey, but like a general consensus thing, and to see like if I should change anything that would make the site like easier to read or give it more spice in some sense. Because right now I think it's very aesthetic. It's very aesthetic focused, but I'm not sure if it's like doing its job as a portfolio site.
If you want to do a poll, I can give you admin in Circle. You can set one up, and or LinkedIn. Polls get a lot of attention. So
Mhm.
part of this is like building your brand. Polls will
Mhm.
help. Circle will probably get you more useful feedback. But yeah, anybody have any suggestions as to how to make Alyssa could make her site more flexible with less hassle than she's got now with low cost or no cost? I have some ideas, but they all run into money.
Your app is looking out for ransomware, or can you just describe what it does again?
It's just a portfolio site, but it's like themed after ransomware because I thought it would be interesting that it plays into my interests. But and not make it like a general, like this is a website, like, and this is like my contact information. So I just wanted to play into that. And I think it would be something that kind of would set me apart from other people when I apply for roles and like the
for sure.
portfolios.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great way to do it for sure. I'm kind of envisioning, I don't know if you know about Virus Total.
Yeah.
Is that somewhat of a take on what you're trying to do in terms of being able to upload a URL or a PDF file and see if it's malicious, or am I thinking about this incorrectly?
I think that would be a different project entirely, but that sounds very interesting and very unique.
I only mentioned this because I had a customer that got breached the other day, and so we had to go and do some stuff like this. So I don't know if your project would be able to support something like that, but I think that would be interesting, almost in a sandbox environment where you can blow up the payload. You know what I mean? And I know we probably are detracting from what you probably built, but just sort of thinking out loud here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, because I do have another project which is about like deepfake voice detection. We're trying to make like a real-time deepfake voice app, and I assume that for some information to be collected, we're gonna have to train AI models, so that could be a potential like thing to triage off of.
You know, on the stolen credentials page, I think it'd be really handy to have a place where you could have the user enter their user ID and password and whatever the name of the site is, and you could tell them if it was stolen or not, and then always say yes.
That sounds like a good idea. Okay. Do you mind if I write that down?
And that was a really terrible idea. I was kidding.
I was gonna say that sounds like Troy Hunt's "Have You Been Pawned?"
Like, yes, you have been pwned. Let me show you your password.
I have written code for that, so it could just be like a fix. I could just copy that code and put it inside the source code. It could be a thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Can you give a little bit more details on what you mean it's a portfolio website? Like, what's the target? What are you trying to achieve with this website? I clicked on the URL and it kind of looks like a CTF-ish site. So what is it exactly that you want to do?
For me, it's just kind of a place to centralize my achievements as opposed to just having them listed on like LinkedIn, for example. Like, I think it's hard to, for example, when I want to get into the swing of publishing blog posts more often, it's a bit of a hassle to group them together on LinkedIn. So this would be like a centralized like database for me to showcase to recruiters or to showcase to like a research professors or whatever that want to see my work. And I think that this was a way for me to like set myself apart as opposed to people who just had like a LinkedIn profile.
It's cool.
So
I think it's an amazing project, and so it shows your creativity and your technical side, and so I just want to applaud that. So when I give this feedback, the only thing I think you're missing is the story that they're all asking for. I went to the page. The first page had like a somewhat of a disclaimer that this is all a simulation. I think that use that same format for the other pages to kind of guide the story and say, hi, I'm Alyssa. I am a exploit reporter. And if, I am working as a cybersecurity professional for company XYZ, and please click on the other links to show, then that would just kind of, not that you want to answer everyone's questions before they ask, but just give it a storyline is what I think the only thing, and be as creative as you were before, because I think this is amazing. I barely had any suggestion to add. This is amazing. Love it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely will take that into consideration. That was a good idea. I did not think about it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I would like to see about the operator higher, like maybe drop the welcome. But I really love the time until data deletion at the top. So maybe, I'm not sure, I guess portfolio navigation is like to be linked up. You might want to say that, like for that section, work in progress, or more will be revealed or something. The other thing you could do, really like the yam and the animation. Another thing that helps a lot is have some kind of simple resource that you can provide to the user. Like on the Nearshore Cyber website, there's the collection of calculators, which people go to and play with, apparently. Or the stuff that I publish there, which no one reads, but people do go and look, and then they never come back. Maybe not good, I don't know. But the point is, like, it's called a lead magnet. Now, in your case, you're probably not going to collect leads unless, I mean, because given that the goal is to get work, you could say, sign up if you're interested in maybe hiring me someday. You can totally do that because job hunting is sales marketing. And this is a really good marketing tool. And you could, convert those marketing leads to recruiter hiring manager leads. The other thing I just noticed is under the community operations thing, it says visit nearshore cyber community. I'm going to send you a link for invitations. So there's to join, like you can either go straight to the site and somehow find the tiny link where you can sign up an account, or if you have an invitation link, you get past all that and it's easier. And then there's a counter that will show like how often that's been used, and then still be an admin, you'll be able to do that. But that's pretty nifty. Another thing you could do just for fun is look into the Circle API and enable people to sign up straight from the covert operations page or something like that, just as another little project. I don't know if that would work from GitHub or not, but it's safe enough because the controls the Circle has are okay. But yeah, anything else? Anybody else have any suggestions?
Just have one more. On one page on breach records, there's a red dot in Malaysia.
Oh.
On the first page, there's not. I like that red dot.
Gotcha.
It's just aesthetic, though. There you go. I
Breach
love
records,
it.
where's the dot?
It's on the breach records.
Oh,
There's like this red dot, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. And then I went back to the first page, and I'm like, ooh, she needs to put that up there. You got that, Alyssa. I love it. I love this. Yeah. So creative.
yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, if that's all for Alyssa's demo, the next is, unless Tim's here, and he is in New Jersey, like I said. So maybe Tim, you here? I don't see him. Luke, what you been working on lately?
A lot of things, but was going to try and just have a few random things available. Try and make sure that you're not the only one carrying the whole every. Let me see if I can share here. Make sure this is the right. I'm a big Cursor fan. So last week I thought that so it depends on what environments you're in, right? I run into a lot of ones that don't have a lot of budget. And so something that I think that is really nice that you can still get with all the open source tools is some like really basic like user entity behavior analytics. If you just decide like what it is that you care about and make sure that you are working through the project, if it's not an area that you're strong in, working through the project with your favorite language model, and preferably some role prompting with some sort of like a data scientist role that you've given this thing. Make sure that you're not looking at too many pieces of the pie. You don't want to just give like full log files, for a small business or something like that, or a mid-size business, and just say, detect things that are different and just run with that. I had ChatGPT come up with a few users and like 2,000 data points. It was like username, continent, date, time, device type, failed logins, VPN used or not, NFA active, continent risk, and then this is like the master set. So it's got a label of like, was this intentional? Like, was this meant to be like a true positive for the data set, or was this meant to be like a false positive? And this is a pretty simple one as far as like what data it is that we're using here, but I really wanted to just demo how to go about that. So the very first thing that you're going to want on any project that is going to be any kind of sizable, and some of you can probably speak to this, you want to have a project plan, and you can have ChatGPT build that project plan for you. So I like to start out with the prompt of like what it is that I'm trying to get at, and then meta prompt it so that it is rewriting your prompt, which is then giving you a plan and then having it reassess with another meta prompt, like where are the holes and gaps in this, like making sure that like you're thinking through like for whatever project it is that you're using, that it's using the right resources. So if that's, if you want it to go look up like CIS benchmarks or something like that, maybe you need to download the PDF or something like that and like give it like, hey, for this specific project, I want to do this thing, but whatever that is. So this is one I just kind of like threw together to kind of demonstrate what that could look like in an end state. This is something I spent 30 or 45 minutes on. And I had left that window open, hoping I could reuse my chat history for this one. So I had to refamiliarize myself because I was not deeply invested in my 45-minute demo project to to try and share the general process. So I kind of as a unintended bonus of that, you can see how you can have it just look at different code bases, right? Like you can pull something down off of somebody else's GitHub and be like, yo, what is this? Tell me how this thing works. Because I built this, but I, wasn't super invested and had it walk me through what it was that I built like 10 days ago now. But all that aside, overall, the detection rate on this, or the false positive rate on this, was fairly high for, I think that it's probably realistic for the amount of effort put in, but it caught 5 of the 7 malicious events that I had fed it, and it had like an extra, I want to say it was like 50 events that were not malicious, but I pared it down to, I want to 0.2% or something like that. But it was, I was trying to keep it pretty narrow. And I had it picked out to where there was only 2 users. And this is over the course of like a couple of days. This isn't like months worth of data. It's all synthetic, but it's like 3 days worth of data, and it caught most of it, at least. One of the other things that I really like to do whenever, and this is just like kind of a side note outside of the project, I know we've not seen a lot of cursor use. This is something that I do. There's a formal term for this. I forget what it's called. I forget what it's called, but having generally like a rule set that is available. There's ways to do this that's built into Cursor, but I find it helpful to be able to just come in here and type and not have to poke around in the menu. And then it's also just like it would be in the chatbot's memory either way. But so as far as the actual presentation, so this was the actual result of the detections. And so it gives a couple of reasons why, for each one. Failed logins greater than or equal to 3, and these are all things that I didn't manually code any of this in. This isn't hard coded into the actual detect anomalies pie. It came up on its own with things based on what was strange. And that's it. So if you missed your login a couple times, that was different than the rest of the data, right? Because like in a real environment, like it's really nice when you have labeled data. Like you can sit down and be like, this is malicious, this is not malicious, but that's just not how it works in the real world. And so like you can come up with data sets like that, or like after the fact, like you can like do postmortems and like add that to like a corpus or something like that. But a lot of times it's going to be more important to be able to detect like what was weird and then work from there. So if I had a better answer on how to make sure that you weren't flooding your analysts, I would give you that right now, but I don't. So that's just kind of, I feel like it's just kind of how the industry works. So, but anyways, these were the detections. And then, yeah, let's see the actual true positives. So when I reran this, this is 2 of the 7. And I think that I had been tweaking this to try and cut down the amount of false positives that I was getting. But this is 2 of the 7, and it caught both of the users. So there was 3 events for one user and 4 events for the other user. It caught both users. Maybe it could have been faster. Maybe there could have been less false positives. Maybe the F1 could have been better. But for something, if you're in a small SMB environment, say you have like 150 headcount or less, and you're like the security guy and you report to the director of IT, right? This is a huge value add, because I guarantee you're not going to have the budget for the real fancy toys, right? So if you can just sit down and just throw this together, I think that that's a massive win. And then if you can have something else that outside of that, there's all kinds of different ways that you can hook up a local language model or a cheap API and have it kind of take a first glance to reduce the amount of like noise that you're getting, right? And I'm not talking, this isn't something that you would do in like every environment. You wouldn't want to do that in every environment, but for that SMB kind of 150 headcount kind of model, I think that makes a lot of sense. And if anybody's interested in like how I would do that another time, like I could show you how I would do that too. And then you could literally just throw it like the results file and tell it like one at a time, whether it's CSV, JSON, whatever, just like give it one entry at a time. And then like help it pare down further for you, and then maybe shoot you an email or whatever and be like, hey, you should probably check this one out. But yeah, this
What
is
was
What was the driver for building this, Luke? Was it just that you had maybe a customer experiencing this, or just kind of curious to see how you could build it?
So this is the kind of thing that I've been deep in machine learning for over a year, like the actual ML, and I've been in deep into AI basically since ChatGPT dropped. And I thought that it would just be something nice to share with the class of like, hey, you can sit down. I've been screaming from the rooftops for several years now that every single person that works in tech needs to be doing everything that they possibly can to get as close to this technology as they can. And it seems like people are finally starting to hear that, which is great. So I want to show some of like real world, like I can just sit down and I can just build this, right? And you can help. So it's what's really important to know, just for everybody on the call, if you don't know a whole lot about ML, it's really important to make sure that you're doing it correctly, because you can get things that look really fantastic. It's like, it's 99% accurate. I'm giving it all of the data. It's fantastic. And then if you go out and use it in the real world, it will perform really, really, really badly. So I want to make sure that people understand that like you need to use something outside of just Cursor to help you come up with the plan and identify what the problems you're going to run into are before you start doing this. But once you've done that, and that is really, really easy to do, you can just sit down and build something like this. Like if I were to sit down and try and genuinely build one of these for real, I think that it would be really high quality. And I think that everybody here would be able to build very similar quality. And it's really, really just about getting familiar with these tools. This is not because I'm just some wizard at all. And I really hope that everybody understands that.
Hi, Wizard Luke. I'm just messing with you. I have a question. I just couldn't help it. So I'm practicing right now on this tool called Guards, and it seems like it's an MDR, just like what you just made. And I think that's amazing. So where'd you get, I'm sorry, I was probably not paying attention, so my question might be a little newbie, but where did you get the information? Was it from log notes? Was it from like ticket?
So the data itself.
Yeah, where'd you get like the
So
two?
the data itself is totally synthetic. I just have some line art background, and so I kind of know what the synthetic data would look like to demo something. And some of the things that you might care about, not all of the things that you would care about. And I just said, hey, I need a couple of things. It needs to be clear that these are abnormal logins. And these are some of the areas that I would like to cover. Can you think of 20 other ones? And then I want to pare those down afterwards. And then I had ChatGPT write its own Python to generate 1,993 of these and manually insert 7.
Did it generate overly obviously anomalous or evil looking one of the problems I've had when I tell an LLM to create sample log data with anomalies is it tends to be like super obvious and not like
Sure.
I have to poke at it to get it to give me subtle anomalies.
No, so like, well, not all of them. So some of them were still so like MFA active, yes, continent risk 0, and this was still considered like this was like if we're only looking at just these data points and nothing else. Username, continent, date, time, device type, failed logins, VPN used, MFA, continent risk, and that's it. There were a couple in here that were legit, that look more legit rather, but were supposed to be as far as reality. They were true positives. And so some of these didn't get caught, but still, if you have, like this North America one, right? Africa, Asia, Antarctica is obviously going to be weird, right? So yeah, I would say that, this is a pretty good mix. There's some really obvious stuff in here, and then there's some stuff they have MFA on. It's North America, so, and then maybe date time is weird. 2 a.m, North America, MFA is enabled. That kind of thing.
It's hard to simulate false negatives.
Yeah, it really is.
Like that's the thing. Like, fine, yeah. So this is, what's the class again?
What was that?
Well, the class you're teaching. What was it? Or is this you teaching yourself?
So I'm not teaching it.
He's talking about this class, dude.
Yeah, this is the class. Cool.
Here?
Yeah, dude.
It was just a turn of phrase.
Sorry. Like,
Share with the class. You know, we're all here to learn.
The
Right?
show and
every now
tell,
and
man.
yeah, every now and then my head just checks out, and I'm like, what did I miss? It's like the Oculus Rift. I just fill it in with nonsense and
My goodness.
go on my merry way. Yeah, because it really does seem like you should teach a class on machine learning as you're learning it. I mean, best way to learn something is teach it.
Sure.
And to, like, if you want to, like, we could even devote one of these sometime to, like,
I would
teach
enjoy that. I have a
Yeah.
lot of fun with that. My best friend, he used to be a plumber, and he actually just quit his job, and he moved into my basement to take a data science boot camp, and that's what he's doing for the next. I love teaching people. Like, anybody that I can convince to get into tech, I will. I was like, bro, you really want to be crawling under those crawl spaces forever? Like, you could just like come chill with me. Like, we could be homies and do, you know, tech stuff.
My standard advice to people is to go into plumbing, get out of IT. It's gonna be a long time before the robots can handle plumbing and electrical.
That is true. That is true. Oh, and here's the crazy thing, that this is like, we're like way off topic at this point, but what I think is going to be really interesting is when those skills start to meet, right? So people that have legitimate tech experience and like could qualify to be a master plumber as well. Those might be the people that are the niche hires to build those robots in 10 years.
The triangulation of place, what you did before you gave up and decided the tech was a good idea, and then the tech, that set of 3 or 4 is what I think everybody should focus on, right? I mean, we need all sorts of, like, there was a guy who I used to met in office hours that kind of inspired our office hours, who showed up one time, and he was a truck driver.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I don't know how to get into tech. I'm like, why don't you start with the logistics business? And he did. And now he's working in cybersecurity, so GRC, in the trucking industry, because he understood the language. So you're absolutely right. Now, as for this, yeah, like, whenever you feel like you're ready, like, we can do little mini classes for like
Sure.
half an
I
hour,
mean,
get it rolling.
I really, really genuinely, I'm so passionate. I can't, there's not even words to share like how much I actually just enjoy doing this stuff. So I'm really glad that you started this up, because I feel like this is just like a fun area where I get to just come do my tech dump that everybody else is like, dude, just shut up. I don't even care about tech. So cool. Does anybody have any questions or any comments or
Any challenges you found yourself wrestling with, Luke?
Yeah, I think the main thing is trying to figure out how many false positives I want. I think that is
Always fun creating them synthetically.
Yeah. Well, so as far as creating them synthetically, at first I wasn't sure that I was going to be happy with something that was created systematically with Python. I wanted the language model to actually think about it, but for that many entries, it just isn't reasonable. So I had to think about, like, what does normal behavior look like? What does abnormal behavior look like? And it ended up being like a 15 or 20 turn back and forth chat. So the data set that I ended up using was actually like the 4th iteration of the data set, because there were quote unquote like legitimate ones that looked like there was like, sometimes people are going to go on vacation in Africa and log in at 2 in the morning, and that's going to be like legit. Like, that it's not going to be like 10% of the time. You know what I mean? So I was having to kind of give it a little bit of a reality check, and I'd say that that's really the main thing with any sort of synthetic data generation. Like, whenever I made my so I made something that is like a really, really watered down llama guard, which is just like the protection, for anybody who doesn't know, like in front of a language model. It's just like a filter, right? So I made a really watered down version of that. And it was like 30,000 data points. And at that point, you can't really look at any of that data, like, for real. You can't look at that. So you have to be able to do some, what the data people call EDA, which is exploratory data analysis. And you have to think about all the different ways that it could be wrong. And you have to keep looking for those. And every time that you think that the data is going to be fine, it's not. You should just know the data is not fine. Your synthetic data set is still BS. So I think that that's the main thing, is making sure that your synthetic data set is grounded in reality. And kind of like whenever you're threat modeling, like what could go wrong here? Like how could somebody break this? It's like, it's the same thing just applied to data, right? It's the same type of thought process. Like, how could this be screwed up? What could be incorrect about this? Like, what do I know to be true about real versions of this type of data? And enforcing that.
That's good info. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, what I'm imagining is a sample log or sample data generator or log sample data generator that updates itself according to your ability to find anomalies. Like you get a simple one, you try it, you figure it out, you give it the right answer, and then it gives you another sample and it's slightly harder. So getting progressively more and more subtle.
That's fancy. That would be really, really fun. I do think that would be really fun. And that's when you would probably need to swap to like a legitimate, you'd probably need to swap to like a Keras. I'm not sure what model to use, but like you'd probably need to swap to like a legitimate deep learning at that point. Like if you're going to do like real.
Yeah. But you know how to do that?
Competitive kind of. Yeah. I mean, that sounds fun. That sounds really fun.
I was going to say, like, if you don't, like, there'll be a good reason to learn it. And then you're just like one step ahead of the students or whoever.
Right.
So you can actually probably make money at that. You can make like $50.
Probably so. Man, it's crazy the amount of projects I have. There's so many things I want to do, man. There's like 5 things I could do full time and it would take me 3 months.
Well, you can go you can go on the stack again for next week. You want me to just put you on for the next one?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right. Cool. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Believe it's Holcomb time.
I don't have anything right now, honestly. I've been busy traveling, but man, I'm happy to show you a Lindy one that I've done, but it's pretty basic. Otherwise, I'm transitioning most of my stuff that I'm building in Lindy over to Area, which is another sort of new platform that's been out for a while. But I haven't made that full transition happen yet because I'm waiting until the weekend to focus more time on that.
Well, hang on, don't let that one go. I mean, Lindy was like, that was your thing. Like you were devoting a lot of time and attention to that.
Oh no, I'm still going to be using it. I mean, it's on the call right now. But, there is other stuff that this other tool can do that's already inherently baked into the tool, like guardrails and red teaming and observability that I don't have to build outside of Lindy. And when time is of the essence and all that good stuff, those things are good to have that just come out of the box, which is good. But
what's the URL for Aria? They spent big money for that.
So, I mean, for what it's worth, there's a lot of good backstory with this company, right? So Area, the gentleman who founded this company, initially founded AirWatch, which pretty much should be ubiquitous to every Mac user out in the world. That then sold to VMware for $1.5 billion in like 2015. And then he went on to found OneTrust, which is the leading privacy organization in the world. And then recently founded Area in 2024. He has since then stepped down as the CEO and has been appointed as the chairman of the board. An Area is already garnering a ton of attention in the market for AI agent workflow builders and things of that nature. I am a strategic partner with Area and also Lindy. And so I think you're kind of seeing where I'm going with my business, which is to be a premier system integrator with these tools. There are enterprise clients that I have that cannot use that cannot use Lindy because it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that are required for enterprise customers to have. And so this is why I'm making a shift in some of what I'm building and moving in that direction. So, we build agents programmatically, we build agents with low code, no code tools, we build agents whatever way you want, but also other flavors out in the market that are not just N8N or make.com or all the other flavors, right? So I'm fairly hip on all the tools that are out there. And so this is what I'm trying to do, is just experiment with all of them to help people understand that there are ways to solve the problem respective to the industry vertical that you're in and respective to the client base or the demographic that you're in. So if that's SMB or mid-market or enterprise, there are tools that can be served well in that industry.
The jump from professional to team goes from 25 to 2. It's a tenfold increase.
Yeah,
that's like HubSpot.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like OpenAI, right? OpenAI is like, oh, here's our pro plan for 20, and it's like, oh, you want our super pro plan? It's 200. So Claude does the same thing. They're all doing the same thing. The other thing is Area is able to be supported with 100 different models. whereas Lindy is only able to be supported with about 20 different models. So the things that you get from them versus other players, even NNN included in this, there are nuances that are going to play into what flow builder are you going to use to build your stuff, right? And then the customer might have a stance on that as well. So some of my decisioning for this is resulting from that as well. So I am moving a couple of the agents that I'm building for customers into area, and so I'm happy to show you those when those are built, probably over the weekend. Yeah, I'm out in Miami now, and I'll be at IT Nation in Orlando tomorrow throughout the week. So that's kind of why I'm MIA right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's the difference in learning curve between Lindy and Area?
I think it's actually pretty straightforward. However, because there are things that you could do like implement guardrails, implement red teaming, implement AI observability, LLM observability. Those things you have to have somewhat of an understanding for in terms of how application development is done and why you would look at logs, traces, and metrics in traditional APM and how that correlates back to agent and LLM observability, for example. Lindy doesn't have these things out of the box. That's why I built an AI observability agent for Lindy specifically that's watching after all of my other agents. Whereas if I'm using Area, I just turn that feature on and it's already inherently available. Then it just becomes a matter of actually being able to implement said function within Area, but knowing what to do, which is people who have the background understand what to do. Whereas with Lindy, because it's not available, you're now having to build that agent that's going to watch all the other agents. And so it's more tinkering and hands-on learning that you're doing. Whereas with Area, it's out of the box, but you still got to function. You still got to configure that function to work appropriately based on whatever agent system that you're building. I know that was a long way to answer that question.
That was really interesting. I'm curious, like, what are the frameworks that you like when you're building your agents? Like, what are the ones that you're like living in the most? Or are you like custom building your own stuff, or like how's that?
Yeah, LangChain is a good framework that I followed through with. There are a lot of different frameworks out there for sure. I think it's just depending on how you see security. You know what? Or lack thereof, Luke, is what I should
Yep. Nope.
right?
Same page.
So I'm pretty security conscious, so I value that stuff. Other people don't give a shit. I keep security at the forefront of my mind.
That's why you
It
and
just
I have
depends on-
jobs, Peter.
Yes. Rock actually has 2 frameworks that he's got, and they're great frameworks as well that can be utilized for your guys' builds and everything too. So I mean, there are so many frameworks coming out nowadays too. I feel like that this is a good time to be in the market building this stuff. OWASP is coming out with some stuff, and there are threat modeling frameworks, the Maestro and OWASP Maz that are good, right? So there's going to be, just like we did in software development, the same that's coming out for all this agentic stuff that we're building. And I'm going to approach it in that same manner like I've done for traditional software, but now with AI agents and stuff. So
Sure. That's cool.
So quick point of order. I schedule stuff according to Mexico's time zones, which are always standard time. So if you just got here, it's my fault.
I just saw like an influx of people.
Yeah, and it was because I forgot to tell everybody, like, we scheduled for CST. Y'all changed time zones. I didn't. Sorry.
Peter's saying stop abiding by daylight savings time.
Well, that's like the corollary is, come on.
Get rid of DST and never go back.
Yeah, just stay on standard time.
I'm just going to blame time changes, although technically it's actually because I have a hard time getting away from my work time to do this.
So the other thing I was going to mention for the people who came late is I'm recording this and this will be podcasted. So it'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Spotify and maybe Apple or whatever. Let's just be aware. We haven't done that before, but enough people asked for it. And thank you, by the way, Darcy, for the suggestion. You inspired me to get off my duff and do that. But no one's cursed anyway, so it doesn't matter. Peter, do you have something you want to show this time, or you want to defer till next time?
Yeah, I'll defer to next time for sure, because I kind of want to move some stuff over there. People have seen Lindy and then they're interacting with it, so I think they're fairly familiar with it. But yeah, I can.
Okay. I know that Rock built something new. I saw it on GitHub yesterday. I'm doing a little demonstration of, even if it's not done, like a thus far.
Oh, it's done. I mean, as done as it's gonna be. It's open source, so anybody feel free. Let me dig in. Which browser?
Yeah, super.
Yeah, this was of fun.
Nico.
Oh, hey, Nico. Sorry.
Okay, I saw there's another Greek too.
I was thinking last night, how is it that I have so many Greeks in my life?
Awesome.
Goes back to one guy I used to work with at Optiv who recommended we recruit in Greece, and it was a great idea. And I can't remember his name. Vasily from Optiv. Now moving on to, I think it's a Checkpoint.
It was great.
You ever meet Vasily from Orange County? You thank him for it.
Right. So I was having a conversation with a friend on Friday, and he's working with a client, a very small business, and they want to implement a chatbot on their website. He's like, Rock, how do I do any financial modeling for this? Like, what's this going to cost them? And I'm like, well, that's a great question. There are a lot of AI startups going out of business because they don't understand that exact issue with regards to how tokens are billed, charged, like what the financial model is around tokens. Like, so there's a lot of people who don't even realize that the output tokens are about 3 to 4 times as expensive as the input tokens. And oh, by the way, the API pages, most of what you see are the input tokens, the costs, right? So I'm like, all right, brother, I'll help. I've coded something. So this is the result of it. I'll call it token tally. You could grab the URL. It's here in the bar. Long story short, the token's calculated. I just focus on the English language. Believe it or not, tokens are calculated differently for different languages because of the alphabet, all the stuff behind it, right? But it's about, on average, 1.3 tokens per word. So I'm using that as kind of a rough estimate. OpenAI does actually have a tokenizer like that you can use. So you can like drop prompts in there and it'll give you an estimate about how many tokens it's going to generate. The kick is that does great for the input tokens. You can't estimate the output tokens until you actually generate the output tokens, right? So you're burning the tokens. So at least this tool, now when you're writing code, you can like max, you can set parameters to the model to max the output token. So you have a little bit of control over that. So kind of basic right now. I'm just doing some of the basic OpenAI and Claude models, the stuff that's readily available on their API pages, frankly. And I put this in my post on LinkedIn today. The Gemini page was too hard to scrape, and I didn't have time to create the JSON manually. Have fun. Like I said, it's up on GitHub if you want to add Gemini support. I think eventually I'll go through and do some of the small language models in OpenAI, add other stuff like Mistral, DeepSeek, whatever. But for now, this is what it is. So there's a couple calculators here. So if it's a chatbot, you have your system token or your system prompt, which gets pulled in every time you issue a prompt to the LLM. So if like in OpenAI and your ChatGPT, you go to personalize and you give it additional instructions, every time you're in any chat in your ChatGPT, you put in an input, it's going to grab that, which is the user message, right? And also the system prompt on the back end. And that's actually your total input that's getting sent into the system. So that's what a lot of people don't realize. So here you just put like, hey, what are my estimated prompt tokens? What are my average message tokens, average user message tokens, that type of thing. Here's what you expect your average output to be, like in the chat agent or the chatbot in this scenario. And then what are your conversation terms? So the conversation terms are the number of back and forth exchanges per conversation, right? So what do you expect the user experience to be as they go back and forth? This matters because as the LLM on the back end builds the chat context, you get charged more. So there's a tax for that. I think, what do you expect for conversations per month? That's, I think, pretty self-explanatory, but then context strategy. How much conversation history is included in each turn, right? So let's say it's a real long conversation. What is your context window that you're setting for that? The OpenAI and Claude have all their defaults and their max, but you can, as you're coding up your chatbot agent, and can tweak that. And then your cache hit rate. So a percentage of conversations benefiting from cache system prompts. This is largely an Anthropic feature. I think OpenAI just started supporting this with 5. And then you can flip back and forth between like your model. So Claude Sonnet, I'm using Claude Sonnet 4.5. It's going to calculate the monthly operating cost as a result. It's going to break it down. And then it's going to give you the model comparison. In the list of what I'm supporting so far, ChatGPT 5 Nano is the cheapest. It's always going to be the best alternative. This does not take into account output quality, any extended thinking or sequential thinking that you want to put into play, anything like that, right? So this is any deep research. This is so very basic consumption. And it'll give you the optimization recommendations and why. and then you can output this report. And then the second one is essentially the same, but now if you're like, hey, Rock, how do I estimate these system prompt tokens or average user message tokens or whatever? You have a prompt calculator. So take a prompt or just any random text. I don't know. What's some stuff I have here?
When you do the old, how many R's are there in strawberry?
What's that?
Do you remember how many R's are there in the word strawberry? Was it that thing?
Right. Which it does pretty well now, actually. But yeah. So yeah, just paste in whatever. And it'll tell you, hey, these are the words. This is about the token breakdown at 1.3 tokens per word, your expected response size, your batches per month, which is how many times will this prompt be executed monthly, and choose for, either recurring batch processing or cache. And is there any multi-turn conversion, right? So again, going back to tying back to the first page. So now you can kind of start estimating things better based on the actual prompt. So if you're coding an agent, right? In the agent, you've got instructions built in, which are the system prompt, right? Particularly if you're looking at LangChain, right? It is literally natural language in there. Then you have the variable that you pass, which is the user prompt. So you can start passing like what these expectations are and kind of getting your token estimates from there. Again, the output tokens, you're either going to have to guardrail or estimate to get a lot of these. And as you can see here, this is your input token cost, right? Your output token costs are quadrupled. The context accumulation tax is here. And again, kind of similar recommendations. That's it. Any questions?
Are you using tick token in Python?
Yes.
Nice.
And built how and how long would you learn from the building process?
This only took me maybe 4 hours over, a Friday night, Saturday morning. Probably an hour up front, like brainstorming in Cloud Code, because especially when you're not a native coder, and I am not a native coder, it's super important to spend a lot of time like that brainstorming up front and create like your product requirement doc as a result and a to-do list as a result. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, not that long at all. Not that long. I've spent maybe 30 minutes a day adding the tooltips you just saw. And that was mostly Claude churning through things, not Rock 30 minutes. So, yeah, I mean, this was pretty simple to code up. What did I learn? How this happens? Like I didn't know that output tokens were 4x the cost of input tokens. I didn't know about context accumulation, that type of stuff.
Yeah, some models are, and the models vary by cost per input output. Some of them are the same. Usually, it's a big difference.
When I did my when I built my MCP server, the MCP server, I learned the hard way. I was using Cloud Opus. This was before like Sonnet 4.5 was out. I was using Cloud Opus. I'm like, oh, it's the best model for coding. 5 times the cost of any of the Sonnet models. And dude, that MCP server cost me, probably a couple grand out of pocket, honestly, as a result. So yeah, lesson learned.
I would love to have something that would tell me if I should have used a different model after I'm done. So I can learn because you start building with whatever. Let's say it's Opus, and I get done, and I'm like, could I have done this with Haiku? Did I just blow money because of convenience and because I just don't know, or I felt like I was just lazy, or could I have done this with like Gemini Flash, which is really cheap? It would be nice to have that kind of feedback. I doubt we'd ever get it because that would take money out of the pockets of the labs.
No, they're not going to give it to you after the fact. No way. Hopefully this gives you some insight ahead of time, right?
Forecasting. Anybody can figure out like full scope forecasting can make a lot of money. If anybody's looking for a business idea, I bet it's like a month's worth of hard work. Just a hunch. E2 Micro or the big behemoth.
Yeah, Tristan was saying makes me think of AWS instances efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking FinOps exactly.
And AI FinOps, FinOps.
Yeah, AI FinOps is going to make a lot of dough. Somebody's probably already built it and then just hasn't reached our attention yet. Give it a week.
But we'll do a quick open or ChatGPT deep research and see if it's out there.
Yeah.
Has anybody played with the AI browsers yet? And by all the love of God, not doing anything like logging into your bank account with them, but just browsing around and playing with it?
I used Comet when it first came out. I used it for a few hours. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, it did some interesting things, but all it did was save me from some copy and paste, which not a big. I just don't think the world needs AI browsers. Like, browsers do browsy things pretty well. I don't have a Mac, so I'm not going to be on Atlas anytime soon.
I downloaded Atlas to my Mac.
I don't have a Mac, so I can't try Atlas
Oh,
yet?
you don't have a Mac. Oh, I didn't realize
No.
it only supported Mac.
But yeah, it's only Macs for now. But I think, and this seems to be consensus among like the AI brains, is like why is, I mean, it's really about I think a pissing contest with Google and an intent to, the idea is like threatening the Google
Yeah.
monopoly, but it's all on Chrome anyway. So
Yeah, I mean, I downloaded Atlas today, literally just to see what kind of settings I can tweak. And TLDR, not many.
yeah. If anybody has good like AI browser use cases that they want to demo, I'd love to see them. But I have this feeling like there just aren't many. We'll see. Maybe Alice is a really great browser. Comet, but supposedly better. It didn't impress me.
Well, Perplexity keeps trying to buy Chrome off of Google, right? So I don't know if Perplexity is 100% committed to Comet.
For Dirty, Island is a secure browser, and more of an enterprise secure browser than it is a AI assisted browser like Comet and the others that they're talking about here.
Yeah, but I think they're enabling that sort of feature stuff. That's what I was kind of talking about, Peter.
I wasn't aware of that. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, with one of their reps. I don't know. Next week I'll ask them about it because that would kind of go. There might be some AI features in it, but that will kind of go against their value prop, right? Like they're trying to provide a secure platform. Like they're trying to like blow Citrix off the map and Azure Virtual Desktop and those types of things. That'll kind of go against their entire value prop.
So yeah, I'm interested to see that as well. See how what they're trying to enable, what they're trying to do with the AI on that side.
Yeah,
I think it comes down to like, it would be really nice if OpenAI would just concentrate on building like better, faster, more reliable models than trying to get into the like really what amounts to a consumer product space, because they just like their interfaces suck. They don't know how to build good user interfaces, in my view. Been happy.
Yep.
The best they can do is like a website that is okay, but I think they should stick to their lane. But that's my opinion.
I've been like trying to build this thing for a couple of years. It's probably like past its time, but I created like a greeting card social network where you can print like cards straight from an application. I think it's open here. Claude Code, and I'm sure you guys are the same. Like I've been playing with absolutely everything. And like Claude MCP, maybe like last November, I just couldn't get it done because I'm not a developer, and I just kept playing with these tools, and like now I can do it. I can build it, and I built it, launched it on iOS. Kind of like runs through absolutely everything you need to do. I was a product manager back when I worked with Peter a couple of years ago, and it's amazing how you kind of like have this same mentality of running sprints and QA and having product roadmap and backlog and things like that, and really just kind of talking to Claude. I'm only on the max plan, so it's like, and even that, like I was blowing through like the $20 a month pretty quickly, but this I was able to build pretty easily and have like split terminal and cursor, just running things. I don't know if you guys have talked about Playwright, but Playwright is, believe it or not, I think it's a Microsoft MCP browser-based utility where you can test and validate, so you don't have to go out and like test the function or the feature you just built and run it. I was going to experiment here, run it right in the project, but Claude launched its own browser as well. It uses a lot of tokens though. Currently in my business, like we're focused on insider threat controls across everything, cyber, legal, and whatnot. I'm totally changing gears here, by the way, and I'm happy to dive into like this app that I built on iOS, but I'm doing like a scrape where I'm trying to find, the top 20,000 businesses in the world, like who's been involved in like trade secret litigation, presuming that obviously they got to trade secret litigation because they had an insider threat and someone stole something and then they got sued for it. So I've been using like this browser scraper. I use all the environments. I don't know if you guys use like the CLI as well, but I'm just using there's like a Claude browser feature that will go and search for you and do what you want it to and very intelligently, but it does use a lot of tokens. So after I'm kind of done for the day, I'm like blow through as many companies as you can before you like max out your budget. And that's enough for me. Like I'm not going to like call up more than like 50 businesses a day. But like I said, I'm a little late here and happy to jump in at kind of like anything I've done here. I'm sure you guys have talked about Supabase for Cell. I know Peter uses that, but Supabase, this call it card creation, holiday card creation iOS app, there's probably like 300 cards, maybe only 100, maybe it's not 300, but relatively lightweight. Supabase is probably like $40 a month. Kind of like a micro AWS backend. Of course, it was down the whole day that AWS East was down, but you know, from a utility perspective, like this application is not very expensive to run. I don't have two-factor Twilio. I started going down that road. I'm like, holy shit, it's gonna be like $100 just to like stand this thing up. So, but you can go pretty lightweight on like these MVPs and like try to, you know, experiment with this. Is anyone on the call like doing AI implementation for businesses as well? I don't know, but it just going from zero confidence and not knowing how to develop and like being able to build this thing, you know, it just kind of shows you like it's just crazy how fast things are being abstracted away. I know this is like a security group, but
Yeah. You got one up on a lot of people because you're already thinking about some of the process that's necessary to actually make it actionable, which is you do need a QA cycle if you're going to do anything other than just like a random front end website and have random data that is not people's PII, not the core information that's in there. So I
Right.
want to give you like a heads up, a high five for thinking of at least doing that.
yeah.
Testing your app out, really.
So yeah, test it out. There's like a free card. You can also do like posters. I guess the idea is to like reverse it. People like don't really like buying cards. You're like, all right, well, like we'll just create cards, and if like I want my family's card, I'll just buy it. Some of them are as cheap as like $1. So anyway, but I don't know. And have you guys used some of these like application AI testing platforms? The one thing I've had a problem is like Claude will like lint things or do a security review, and it'll just literally like cripple the app. It's like do it early Sunday morning, test it, like re-release before you know you can like work out all the bugs and stuff like that. So it's getting there. It's not fully there yet. So
Yeah, does anybody know if you can like tie like CodeMender or Aardvark into Cloud Code, or are they just in the Google and OpenAI ecosystems respectively? Like, so sorry, CodeMember is Google DeepMind. They just released it on last week before. Aardvark, OpenAI released Monday. And you know, I know there's a bunch of other out there, but I wasn't sure if they're like limited to their ecosystems or not.
Aardvark has some other restriction. I don't remember what it is. I mean, my low rent moron version is pull down a zip file from GitHub, feed it to Manos, and tell it to run every possible test, security, usability, SEO, everything you can think of, and literally be relentless, show no mercy in the prompt. And I tell it to check the source code and the live website, and I point out it's my website, and produce a report. And it's because Manos uses cheap models, but like lots of agents, it's pretty good. I've done the same thing with ChatGPT 5 Pro, and the results are better, but I can do one of those a month. It's like, we're done. Like, no, wait till December. But it does work pretty well. And then what I do is when it's done, I'll tell it to make one or a series of prompts to feed back to Lovable to actually make the changes. And so sometimes I'll like bounce around. That way I can get cheaper testing and review out of Manos than I would spending like $300 in Lovable. And it's too bad you weren't here for Alyssa's. She's been working. Which model did you say, Alyssa? Was it Claude? And just like working up to like you've been planning your design, doing your design so that you can get stuff done before you run out of tokens, and then you just keep going the next day. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm fond of telling people that you can do all this stuff in AI for free. No, but she did.
yeah, like on Bolt and like some vo.dev, and they give you like 5 free prompts a day or something like that. So yeah,
you plan well enough, like that can work.
I had all those other platforms. I built my company website on VO because Vercel's connected to that, and then Vercel is just amazing for just an amazing company. And then I was using Bolt.new or Bolt, where it is. I don't know if anyone's tried that. And now I've just like, you already have the Git repositories. You just point it at Claude Code if you're already paying the Claude money. So like, why not, right? I don't, you know, I haven't experimented with Replit. I'm sure some of you guys have, but
Replit has a security checker built in. It has for a while. It's older than the Lovable one is pretty weak, but yeah, it's pretty nifty. When are you gonna? So your application. When can we see it?
It's out on the App Store right now. Like it's greetbind.com.
It's a mobile app, not a like a.
It's both. It's on the web. It's actually better. It's a better experience on the web. Just because you're like moving objects around and like resizing them to like fit into these like holiday cards or whatever you want to use it for. I don't know. I'm just playing around with it, right? Like you can buy a poster, you can have someone buy your cards. It's very private where like you have to follow and connect with people, so it's not like wide open, um, like an Instagram or Facebook. And what else is like kind of different about it than like the normal experience? You can upload addresses and like it'll OCR it. So I haven't added all the tools, but there's a lot of libraries that are probably unsafe and broken in there. So, but they work.
Yeah, I had a critical vulnerability found by the Lovable security checker one night. I don't know, like 6 weeks ago, and it turned out that the vulnerability was in Supabase, and Supabase couldn't fix it. It was like really, really fundamental, some permissions thing, and it was like, yeah, we know. Actually, I had to hit them up on to lambast them on Twitter and tag like the head of security at Supabase just to get them to respond. And it took 4 days to get back to me. I'm like, you called this one. Like, why did I have to find out from Lovable?
My bug bounty.
I got nothing. But yeah. What how long again did it take again?
I'd say it's probably been like 3 months. Like I've been weekends, like whatnot, just trying to crank out as much as I can and nights. But yeah, it's the general, like you get 90% of there on like the first day, and then I wouldn't say 90, maybe 80%, but then you constantly like resizing you're using all those sub agents, like the UI sub agent, which are okay. I don't know if you guys follow like what is it, TLDR, like there's like a TLDR AI product. The articles are great on there every morning, just on like how to maximize these tools and like things that you can try and like things people have experimented with. I think those are like really helpful. I'm just bummed it's only Monday to Friday.
What were the big lessons from the project so far?
Just like the getting to like a stable state, right? Like where you actually have multiple DevOps environments where it's breaking things and you have to constantly remind it. Like, where do you put that? Do you put it in like the Claude MD file, or like how do you almost like rein it in? Because it's not, it does go off the rails like quite often. So where I've just like broken production a couple times where I wouldn't be able to get away with that if I had like 1,000 users. So just that stability, I think, is a problem. And that's what separates like the vibe coders from the real deal.
So are you gonna hire somebody to take it to like production quality, or are you gonna just power through and figure it out?
I was thinking, it's funny because like I don't know if anyone's like angel raised money, but like these are the kind of things that actually raise money. You go out and like sell like some like actual usable security product. Like they're like, I don't get it. But something like this, then we're like, oh, yeah, where do I write a check? So I don't know. I was thinking about that, raising some money and then I could hire somebody.
Well, the party when you raise your next round of angel money will be in New York, I guess.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I built I built like a blog that's like almost the same as Substack as well. You can start like not using these. It's called datatheftnews.com. It's another just like website, the blog, and it's got like uses Resend for newsletter. I don't know what you use for the newsletter, Peter, but you can just build all these things without paying for them. So
yeah. Yeah, I use Resend for mailing forms behind our website. It's pretty like works like a champ. I've never had a problem with it, other than like some of the controls breaking. It looks like Data Theft News looks like, what'd you build it in?
that was Bolt. Then I switched it over just recently. And Bolt is like the same thing. It'll break and then it'll use like 10 quotes and just like keep smashing its head against the wall until like, then you'll go out to like Claude or like somewhere else and be like, Bolt can't figure this out. Like,
so you switch from Bolt to what?
Just because the repositories all point to Vercel. So like, and then Claude points back to Vercel and GitHub. So it's like all connected. Like, why not just like cut these guys off? So you can make like sharp forks away from things.
I've heard that for front end, Lovable's really good, Bolt's really good. Vercel is like the king on back end vibe coding. Is that Is it a matter of like better backend?
You mean vo.dev or whatever? Vercel is
Maybe.
really just like the hosting platform.
Or maybe it was VO.
Yeah. I thought it was okay. I thought the website did a good job. One of you guys, I think I saw it on here, was one of these like hero story, like kind of AI websites that like tells you like how to develop your website. I don't know, I forget the name of it. But I think I saw it on here, and then I like did that, created like a scaffolding and a framework for my new website, and then just like threw it directly into VO, and it's like great website, like a couple hours. But it's not, I'm trying to like, because everyone talks about this, and you hear about these podcasts, are like, just you don't need 1,000 readers, you need like 50 readers that actually like care. So it's a very like niche community that in the insider threat world. So,
Awesome.
but no luck getting like a ton of people on it yet. Because every time you put it on LinkedIn, it's like you go to the black hole. I know what you're trying to do.
Well, I mean, on our Circle platform, we have 2,173 people, and that's like good enough. You don't need
Great.
a million. You don't need a million. You want the right people, not all the people. Cool. Anything else on your project or other projects?
I've been kicking around this like business idea of almost like a AI venture capital firm where you would go into like businesses, traditional businesses, and have a whole playbook of like AI coding things or, automations, business intelligence, marketing. You could literally ask ChatGPT, like, what would I do? And could you go into a business and be like, I'm not going to invest any money in your company, but these would be like stable businesses, right? Like a tire company or something. Like, like you can think about, these vintage businesses and be like, all right, well, I'll do any kind of growth. We're going to split the upside.
Familiar with Bordy by any chance? Bordy. It was recommended to me by another friend because I was trying to make connections, kind of at my level or higher, kind of in the industry. And I had a whole on interview with Bordy with an AI, and it was wild. It was pretty. I will say it was barely indiscernible from a human. It was just a surreal experience. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because Bordy is now adding, do you want me to help you invest?
Yeah.
It might be kind of doing that already, interestingly enough. There's a business model for it out there, especially since Bordy is kind of connecting so many people and so many different businesses.
Right. So ideally, this is like halfway in between like AI, just being an AI consultant, going in and doing work. And then there's full blown, like, we'll just buy the company, fix it up, add AI, accrete value. This is like kind of in the middle, but that's interesting. I'll have to check that out. I wonder if is that like a Long Island thing? Anyone ever heard of the Bordy barn? No one's from Long Island here. The Hamptons.
I lived in Huntington for close to a year, and I was working for Estee Lauder. But they don't kind out to the Hamptons.
That's the last time I heard that word, Bordy barn. It's like this dive bar. Yeah, think about Jersey Shore. Yeah.
I guess the biggest problem I imagine would you probably run afoul of the SEC.
No, this would be private businesses, right? I'm not getting involved. Public companies. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to have that problem dealing with the SEC.
It sounds like you could have a combination of like GoFundMe / YC killer.
Yeah,
I would love to see Y Combinator get taken down. Their 5% for life deal is like egregious.
Well, Altman's probably not paying much attention to that anymore.
No, he probably found a way out of it. But that's a really, really cool concept. Well, and when Peter and I started talking about this thing, part of the idea was like find really interesting ideas and help people sort of go to the next level, funding services, becoming, enterprise class in some fashion, secure, reliable, stuff like that. Because I think there's a lot of opportunities for people like you, people like, many of the rest of us who have problems to solve at scale that is below what VC would care about, but that could, do quite well on a $50,000 angel round that used to cost, take like $3 million and a team of developers. And instead you need like an application security person, an SRE to make the stuff stable and reliable. And then you're probably good until you need 10 million for marketing.
Right. Yeah, there's just so much talent. I'm talking to so many people. I'm sending them your way, Peter. Like, there's so many young, talented people in my area that don't have jobs and like people out of work. And I'm like, there's all this disruption here. Like, how can we leverage your skill set? So
I love your idea of like a kind of like entrepreneur robo advisor, because there's so much nonsense coming out of Silicon Valley about how it doesn't matter if you lose your job, you'll just become an entrepreneur. Let me tell you, being an entrepreneur sucks. 90% of businesses fail because it's ungodly hard and the lessons you have to learn are just like monstrous. And I think what you described, like something that could get the failure rate down to maybe, if you could get the business failure rate from 97% to 80%, that would change the world. You know, Mosey has this thing that you could have bought into for $6,000, and basically they created a model with like a bunch of rag stuff, I think, and like had all of their lore they collected from thousands of interviews and meetings with entrepreneurs who qualified for their program and paid for it. But that's not like generally available, and that's seriously paywall. But yeah, if sounds like you have a really, really great project in mind. How to take it to reality, that sounds like a much bigger thing than the projects you've built so far, but you're getting there. You know,
yeah,
it gives you lessons.
It's finding the right targets, but it's funny. Everyone's seen that report, like 95% of AI projects have failed. I'm like,
well, that was pilots.
You're right.
And like a failure rate of 95% on pilots is appropriate.
Right.
You're supposed to fail. You're not supposed to succeed in a pilot. You're supposed to learn lessons. And that's what, maybe they did.
I have so many issues with that study.
That paper is like,
right.
That paper is shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a research paper. It's an excuse for a screed.
It's marketing disguised as research, disguised as marketing. And I've seen more of that come out of MIT, which is a shame.
Yeah. You'd think that somebody would actually peer review before they publish in Forbes.
Yeah.
Like that's where they publish with.
Well, but there are things with Nanda. Like we don't have enough time to get into it.
Yeah.
That's what
Anything, no.
Bring it to office hours. Yeah, I was invited to be Forbes counsel one time. And I'm like, I don't have time. I don't need that on my resume. All right, anybody have anything else they want to do show and tell on? You? Okay. Well, like I said, I will post this. I'm not going to do much editing. I'll take some of the chit chat at the beginning off. And other than that, it will go up on YouTube and Spotify under the Nearshore Cyber podcast. Because I don't really feel like spending the time to create a new podcast. I'll just put it up under that one every week. And if anybody wants to demo more, I know that Luke always has like a bag of projects. So he'll go on just de facto. But I'll put another post up for next week on Circle. And thanks everybody for coming. Sorry about your country's time zones, but this is the time going forward. All right. Muchísimas gracias todos. Nos vemos.
Nos vemos.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.